Hey you guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So today I just want to speak on I guess it's a pretty important subject considering this applies to me, and I know it probably applies to a lot of you out there, but being in the YouTube community and being in the social media, community, all that kind of stuff. And basically just how do I balance it full time and what I do to be successful, if you consider this success. Very hard for me to pat myself on the back. I think I started my channel in 2012, I want to say. As far as really getting serious about my channel, I didn't start that until after having Isaiah and not going back to work. That's basically the rundown of it. I apologize in advance if this video is a little bit all over the place. I did take some notes, and my title for my notes was balancing motherhood and YouTube. So yeah, so that's the focus of this video, in case you didn't get that with all my rambling. So basically, I just took the time to really think about just things that I've learned over the years and things that have helped me with my channel, with just being a mom in this space. And I've got 8 little tips on here. First things first is now I make well over 6 figures, you guys, and that's possible for a lot of you. You may not feel like it is right now. I know at one point I did not feel like it was possible, but I've got some really good tips in here to help you achieve those goals. And also know that I'm a one-woman show still, so let's keep all of this in mind. I've been a one-woman show since I started, and I am still one. It just is what it is. So first things first, you guys, is set boundaries for your little people. It's easier to start this when they're younger, because if you keep doing the same thing like I have been doing, they start to know what you're doing when you're doing it. And you're also just training them to respect your time, respect what you're doing, so that you can get your work done and focus on what you have to do. Because I have years with this, and if I have years with it, so does Isaiah. Isaiah knows at this point that some things he just cannot do. Let your kids know that you have something to do, you have a task to complete, you have to get something done, and give them the freedom to basically explore and find things for them to do on their own, and not always be dependent of you. You know what I mean? This is definitely more so for people who are like me. I only have one child, so Isaiah definitely had to learn to entertain himself. If he wanted to come in my space when I was working, then we have to be a little bit more quiet. They're just boundaries that you have to keep in order for things to go a lot smoother. Of course, we still have to make sure the house is not on fire, everyone is still safe, so we're peeking our head in here and there. But they start to learn that mommy's working, mommy has something to do. When she's done, she'll get to us. If it's an emergency, if we need anything, we can for sure go in there, but we're not just gonna keep bothering her. We can play together, we can do stuff on our own. Again, this definitely applies more to the older kids. Like I said, Isaiah is now 6, so he totally gets it. When he was 2 and 3 years old, it was a little bit harder, but we've eventually worked our way up to this, and I can get all of my work done now in no time without very few interruptions. And of course, everyone's boundaries are going to be different. You just have to start applying them sooner rather than later. So number 1 was probably quite long. I'm gonna see if I can make this second point a little bit shorter. So the second thing that I've learned is to keep your promises. I always tried my best to keep my promises with him. So if he basically respected my time, and gave me my time, whatever I promised him, I'm going to follow through with. I feel like I've always tried to let him understand and know that there's nothing I would rather do more than just hanging out with him on the couch, playing with him. I mean, there are other things, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. Just letting your children know that they are important and feel like they're important and not a bother as well, because you have your own stuff to do. Like I said, it's a fine line with boundaries as well, and setting those. And motherhood, we're just playing all this by ear until we die. But just letting him know he was super important, and my number 1 priority always, I feel like, was it just made Isaiah feel really, really good. So basically, it's still just me and Isaiah during the week, because daddy is already gone. And so he knows if I've got something to do, and I'll tell him the night before, 9 times out of 10, okay, I've got a lot of work to do, or I've got to do this in the morning, or that, or whatever. But that day, if I get up and say, all right, I gotta shut my door, or I gotta crack my door for a little bit because I don't shut nothing around here. And once I'm done with what I'm doing, we'll go the trampoline park. I try my best to always follow through with that because that gets them very excited. They know a reward is coming, and I like the reward system with things because it's kind of like us as adults. I mean, we get bonuses. If you're in the corporate world, you do your work, you get bonuses. You know what I mean? It's your reward for doing a great job. And so it's the same with kids. He also knows the less he, you know, interrupts me, which he can always do that. He knows he can, but you know, just not for, y'all get what I'm trying to say. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat this. He just really wants me to hurry up and get my work done so that we can go and play, basically. I feel like if you make those promises to them, they will try their best and they'll feel like they are a part of the team as well. And that in return will really help you focus a lot more, get your work done, probably get more than you think done as well. And then they know their reward is coming if this happens. I mean, there will be some times where you just can't follow through, you guys, and it just is what it is. But try your absolute best to either just don't make the promise at all, and if you do, follow through on that. So next, you guys, let's talk about sponsorships. Let's talk about brand collabs and all those good things. First thing is, if you're new to this, you want these brand collabs, you want these sponsorships. They are just not going to just fall out the sky, you guys. It just is what it is. It's not gonna happen. I worked for free for a very, very long time. And then when I didn't work for free, I worked for like pennies, like no joke. I look back now and I'm like, wow. We're not gonna go down into crying. So basically my first tips with all the brand collabs, all this kind of stuff that I'm about to tell you. Number one, find a brand or two or maybe three that you really like. You ain't gotta love them because we are about getting this money, so we ain't gotta love nothing. But finding a company that you really like is fine. And make content for that company, but do a little bit more. And this goes for if they're paying you in product and money, because you should always be getting paid in both, but sometimes it just is what it is. I don't care what people say. But if they're paying you in product and you accept it, maybe do a little bit more and really put the time and effort into that. Quality has always been very important to me, and effort has really gotten me a long way. And these brands will know, you guys, that you really tried. And another thing with that is once they see that you actually tried, you put a little something extra in there for them, or you did maybe an extra post on Instagram or story, something like that wasn't what you guys initially agreed on, because I do that often. They will come back and they will pay you. In my experience, they will pay you what you're asking for, if not more. I have about 10 years of luxury retail underneath my belt, and more so on the jewelry side. We never depended on new customers to make the year. And because I was in management in luxury retail, I would have to tell my girls, and my girls will always know, call your repeat customers. Your repeat customers are gonna be your customers that would make your week, your month, and end up making the year for us. So I take a lot of what I know with that and I apply it to what I'm doing now. Now, you can't do too much of the same thing, which I have fallen trapped to. It happens. I am human. I don't know everything within this world. And you kind of have to venture off and try different things. But that's a huge thing, you guys. It's a big deal, and it should make you feel really good when a company comes back and they keep coming back to work with you. Then you really know what you're doing is right. You know what I mean? All right, you guys. So next thing I want to talk about are basically when you're in front of the camera. When you're in front of the camera, this can either go really smooth and not take any time for you to do your video at all, or it can take you try after try, make an outline. Even just taking 2 to 3 minutes, jotting down whatever you need to for that video is an outline, you guys. You don't have to write out a whole script. It's just making sure you hit those points that you really want known in your video. This can take away a lot of headache. And then next, you guys, is not overdoing it as well when it comes to how many videos you need to make, or how many posts on social media you need to make, or whatever the case may be. I think one thing that's really worked for me is just being realistic about certain things. You know what I mean? I don't have all the time in the world. I really didn't when Isaiah was younger. Now I have a little bit more time, so I can schedule things a little bit different and add more things in. But you have to be realistic about what you're doing, how much extra time you have, and schedule accordingly. You can't go into this saying, okay, I'm gonna start with 3 videos a week and I'm gonna post on Instagram 5 to 6 times a week. It may happen the first month or 2, but maybe by month 3, you are completely wiped out. This especially when you have little people at home. They wipe you out by just not even having to do all this extra stuff. Don't go into this like just doing a whole cannonball into the pool and you do not know how to swim. You have on no life jacket, you have on no nothing. It doesn't make sense. You will get very mentally exhausted. You will feel so drained so fast. And something that you really love, you just won't end up loving it anymore. And it'll be more of a burden, and that's the last thing you want. Let's talk about me being a one-woman show and how most of us who get started it's just us. It is definitely just us. I feel like now there are tons of management out there. There's a lot more people now than when I started who wanted to only take your pictures, and they would edit for you, and you can book them for an influencer shoot or content creator shoot at the studio and all this kind of stuff. So there are resources out there to help you if you don't have the time, the energy, the want to do things by yourself. However, when you're just getting started and maybe you were just like me, I don't have the time, because in order to book those extra things, who's gonna watch my baby? And then if I wanted to book a shoot, I couldn't do that. I didn't have no extra money. So I had to learn how to edit, how to try and take my pictures, because that's still a struggle, how to use cameras, how to do this. I had to learn all of this stuff by myself. Could I outsource now? Yes, I definitely could. I don't know, yeah, I just don't. But just know that you have to be in the position to do that. Don't go broke trying to do all this extra stuff that you could really do yourself if you just got up maybe an hour early twice a week. As much as I love that these jobs are available, don't feel like you have to, you have to have a shoot. You have to have a photo shoot with this person, that person. You can do this stuff at home by yourself. It's just gonna take a little bit more from you. But my thing with that was I didn't have to worry about anyone watching Isaiah. I got to do it on my own time, and I learned a new skill by myself. So if you can outsource, go for it. But if you cannot, it's okay. So as far as finding my niche and helping you find yours, I'm not the one to help you guys. I have so many other ideas in my head and things that I want to do and show and that kind of stuff. It's just easier said than done. And because I feel like I've always loved hair and I've always been an oversharer, during the time when I started really doing this, I was really just getting into it because I wanted to share what I thought was exciting. I had just had Isaiah. We really didn't have any money for me to get my sew-ins done anymore and spend the money on hair and all that kind of stuff. So I had to figure out another way to still, look good for the low. And that's how I really got into crochet, because that was like the best thing I could possibly do. And I've always been good at styling hair, and I've always loved it. I just have always loved hair. It's very simple. And honestly, just me being an oversharer and wanting to share things with you, that's how I'm in the position that I'm in now. I always say that if there's something you really love, 9 times out of 10, there are plenty of people out there who love the exact same thing as you. Trust me on this. And if people don't love it just as much, they'll still watch you, as long as you're authentic, as long as you're yourself, and as long as you put the content out there. If the content isn't out there, can't nobody watch it. I would definitely love to lean more towards the lifestyle creator type of vibe, and I feel like I have said this for a good year now, maybe a little longer, but it's just not easy. Oh my gosh. A lot of people who are lifestyle creators, 9 times out of 10, I feel like they did not start off like that. They eventually made that switch. and I'm still trying to figure out how to make the switch. And a lot of that also comes from confidence. I'm not the most confident person when it comes to other stuff. When it comes to hair, I'm pretty confident, you know what I mean? But when it comes to other things that I'm interested in, I'm not so confident, and I just have to put myself out there. I am a walking cliche, you guys. I am a walking cliche, and I'm happy about it because I've always loved this, and the money came eventually with a lot of hard work and sleepless nights, but it came. Nowadays, there's so many of us on YouTube. There's so many of us on social media. Maybe what you're gonna talk about has already been said, it's already been done, but it hasn't been done the way that you've done it. And maybe there's a little bit more digging that you can do that no one's touched on, even though you may think that they have. For instance, when I made a few videos on low density hair, I was like, this is something I've always had. Whole YouTube career, never really made any videos on it. Except one day I was just like, let me Google it, let me YouTube it, and found there was not really much anything out there. And when I actually put out my own experience, my own thoughts, all that kind of stuff, you guys loved it. And I was completely shocked. I was so shocked. And those videos did well. All right, you guys, I think that is it. I hope it helped you guys. I hope it helped all my stay-at-home moms out. If you guys have any questions and want me to make a part 2 to this video, leave them down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for watching me over these years. If you've been a part of the family, and if you're new, welcome here. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video.